A light purse is a heavy curse. Hello and welcome to our devlog number 29 for our indie game Kingsblood, and this week we are going to talk about economy. So there will be quite a lot of occasions when you will need resources and gold. As an example, you can send spokesmen into cities, basically unlocking the city, which lets you, for instance, access the town hall and hence accept quests the city offers. Currently, every spokesman costs 500 gold per turn, and you can see the gold being subtracted at the top of the screen. Also, if you have too much gold, you can go to the tavern and roll for some new rumors if you want to learn more about the world. But the economy is not only about gold, it is also about other resources like wood or stone, which you can use to build your hideout, or the two remaining resources, steel and herbs, which you will need to craft potions or utilize within your forge. Now the big question remains, how do you actually get these resources? In Kingsblood we actually plan that you get most of your money by doing missions. So what you will do is you select a group, send them on a mission, beat up your enemies within combat, and after the combat you will usually get some gold, but occasionally also items which might or might not be of value. So the question might remain, how do we actually get the other resources, wood, stone, metal and herbs, and what can we do with our gold, especially if we already have done a lot of missions and need some way to spend our money, besides the points which I've already mentioned. And for that reason we implemented a marketplace, or rather Dominik implemented the marketplace. Hello Dominik.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Okay, so maybe we can give you the design ideas behind our marketplace. So basically all the items you find you can sell within the marketplace, but you're also capable to buy items, which you see right here. And every marketplace will offer different items with different quality.
That's right. So basically what's happening is that we are generating these items on specific events, and different rarities of these items get a different chance to roll. And whenever you do turns, so basically this is based on a calendar, so once a week all the green items get replaced, once a month all the blue and purple items get replaced, and the orange ones, sorry, and only once at the beginning of the game each city gets exactly one ancient item, so that would be the red one in this case, and that stays there forever. Yeah, so that is never regenerated.
And this is also our big money sink. So if you do a lot of missions and you have tons of gold, there will always be something worth to buy on the world map, because there are a couple of cities, or actually a lot of cities, and there will always be something worth to buy. And now let's see about the functionalities of the marketplace. If you click on an item, you get a little additional window and you can click on purchase. And if you look into the top row, you will see that there is already an interaction.
Yeah, gold gets deducted, and if you go to the fellowship window, you will also see so that in your inventory the item will appear. So that we have now the items that we just bought from this store.
So what we want to do later on is that also these icons should have their rarity level displayed. Currently it is only displayed within the tooltip, but it should also be displayed in the background.
Yeah. In the market, basically what we did is we overhauled a bit how items are looking, and that is what we want to apply everywhere else as well. So here you can see that the items are colored in a color code based on their rarity, and that is what we have to still apply to all the other areas where we are already showing icons for items. But what you've sort of skipped over, Daniel, is at the top of this, you're also able to buy resources. What is that about?
Yeah, you're right, Dominik. In Kingsblood, you're not able to get stone and wood and herbs on a regular basis. So there will be quests and missions where you will be rewarded with herbs or stones. You cannot go to the forest and cut trees or anything like that. So in that case, if you need resources, for instance, to build up your construction site, you can go to the marketplace, select a resource, and buy the resources which you need. So basically you have to spend gold to get the resources you need for building or for crafting.
Oh, I see. So basically gold is your universal resource and you spend that on other resources then.
Okay, but now let's take a look at the code, and this is Dominik's world, because he created this system.
Well, so we have a couple of things that work together here. So the first thing that we have is we have this helper class, and what that helper class does is it sets up the items for all the different cities. So there is one thing that gets called initially, and that is once our game manager, which is our singleton, gets loaded for the first time, so when the game starts for the very first time, what happens is that all available cities right now are written into a dictionary, and then we execute a couple of routines on that. So the first thing we do is what you see already is the one-time routine, which is only responsible for generating items that will never be replaced. So in this case, one ancient item per city. So what we're doing is we are iterating over all cities that we have, and so for each city we are generating one random ancient item, and then what we do then is we execute the weekly routine. So in the weekly routine what we do is for each city again we remove all existing consumables and remove all green items, and then we generate new green items. So in this case right now each city will get 15 green items, and then what we also do is we generate resources or we fill up resources. So this happens once a week, or basically every 7th turn. And then every 30 days, so basically every month, what we do is we remove all blue, purple and orange items, and then we generate new items. So that's basically how these are generated. Each item that is being generated also has, I think we went over this in the devlog where we talked about the item factory, but each item has a budget. Based on this budget we get the gold value of the item. So items with more stat budget, i.e. with a higher rarity, are automatically worth more gold. So let's go into the back factory, and here you can see that there is a budget assigned, and this budget for the item is based on your average party level. So if your average party level is 8, your item would have a budget of 130, and then depending on its rarity there is a multiplier applied. So if it's an ancient item, the rarity is 130 times 2, so the budget is 260. And then if you go into I believe here, let's see, the wearable item class, and this should have a gold value somewhere. Yeah, you see, and right now it's simply the item budget times 2. So 130 is the budget times 2, because it's ancient, is 260, times 2 is 520. This would be the gold value of this item. That's how we arrive at that point. Okay. Right now, what we've not done is we haven't really added consumable items to this, because while our wearable items, so weapons and armor, are already implemented to its full extent, so they do provide stats, then they do have an effect. The consumables we only have fleshed out a bit in theory, but we haven't implemented their effects yet, so right now they're also not available in the markets. Okay, so now that we've looked at how the items are generated and how the gold value is determined, all that really remains is how do we set that up? All our city UIs, so all of these tabs, the history, market, town hall, tavern and reputation tab, they have a shared base class, which is the city window class. And in this case, we created a new child class, the city market window class. And whenever you click a tab in the game, the attach method is being called. So what then happens is each of the items gets instantiated as well. And each item gets a click listener attached to it to react to the event of an item being selected. And when an item is selected, we load the lower part of the UI. So we load this preview of the item, and we enable or disable the purchase button based on if you have enough money, or gold, I should say, and you can actually afford this or not. And if we click a resource item, so that's why we have again a different else block here, is we also have to activate the slider and show that, so that you can select how many of those you want to buy. And then again, if I want to buy a lot of herbs, as you can see, now the purchase button is actually not interactable because I don't have the money to buy so much. Now I can also not purchase any of the other items because I don't have enough gold. And then again, let's click the action item. And you see, as mentioned earlier, gold value is 520. Obviously, action items should have a way higher gold cost than 520. So we would probably need something like an exponential growth here based on rarity. Yeah. Right now it's linear growth. And I think that a red item should be worth and also cost a lot more than a blue item.
Right, thank you, Dominik, for this cool summary about how everything works. And just as a final comment, what you see here, of course, the image will change and some of the optics, but in general, the system is set in place and works as intended.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe to the channel and see you next week.